I'm talking about artist tools and how they have evolved. So by tools, I mean anything from paint to the stuff we've been painting on. And I'm focusing on drawing and painting because that's my specialty. I am a grateful artist because I get to go to stores like this, and when I go home, I can immediately start painting. Whereas artists from history have had to forage and create their own supplies and their own stuff to paint on. So no Currys or Michaels for our early artists. They had to work a lot harder to tell their story and leave their mark. So I'll bet, though, that they wish they had stores like we have. So starting with our first known artists, our ancestral cavemen and women, starting around 40 to 30,000 BCE. They had to make their own paint and tools using whatever was at their immediate disposal. So cave painters. So this bison is our first example. It was outlined using charcoal or manganese. It may have been carved with a sharp stone first, basically the outline. And then it was filled in with ochre and other pigments, and shaded in with other pigments as well. Similar actually to today's techniques. And using seashells as paint containers, and working by candlelight, prehistoric artists painted with their fingers pads of moss, brushes made of animal hair or vegetable fiber. Anything they could use as pigment were ground into fine powder and mixed with cave water, or animal fat, blood or urine, anything that they could use to make that paint stick. And it did, because it's still there. So they did a good job. The coolest thing is they were spray painting from as early as 16,000 BCE. They would use reeds or hollowed out bones to blow the paint on the walls. And many of them were actually female artists. And then we moved to Egyptian art, which is 5 to 3,000 BCE, where they managed to work with metals, and so then were able to create more sophisticated art tools, which meant more sophisticated art techniques. So they were still carving and painting on walls, except they built their own walls. And then we get to move up to the Greeks and Romans, who upped the game by the 1st century BCE. They create some incredibly accurate, majestic sculptures using marble, which is also readily available, as well as some naked Olympians who ran around as models. So the naked Olympians made really great Greek gods. So then we move up the map and in time to where artists began to paint with oils. So we go from Gothic to Renaissance, Baroque and Rococo, Neoclassicism, Romanticism, modern art, and those periods gave us Leonardo da Vinci and Mona, Rembrandt, Rubens, Van Gogh, Cézanne, Renoir. The list is endless. So some of those artists trained apprentices who foraged and made all the paint and the canvases, and it's kind of like going to an art store unless you were the guy doing the grunt work. So we go from the flatter, brighter colors of egg tempera to start developing mood and expression and emotion. We move swiftly from remarkable accuracy and detail to emotional works. And from that comes graphic design, which is invented through our abstract art and paint. And then 1940s, we get acrylic paint, which is water-soluble, water-resistant when dry, and on everybody's walls these days, pretty much. And Leonardo da Vinci had the projector, which we now use now. So we've not only gone from the coolest programs to create great art. We have 3D graphics programs for movies and video games. But you know all that, because as soon as you turn your TV on, or you look at your iPhone, you see that, yeah, Mona's not too impressed by all that stuff. She also wasn't too impressed when I told her that the Creative Space here has a 3D printer. Yeah, you can create some really cool art with those things. Yeah. Now, the next thing I would consider selling my soul for, this iPen, if I thought I could create good art without my soul. This thing allows an artist to create digitally with the look and feel of pencil to paper or paintbrush to canvas without actually, the mess. So when it was more difficult for us to create accurately, We tried and we succeeded gloriously. Now that it's so easy, our tools have changed our art throughout history as much as it has our times. So war, weather, politics, from the plague to moving to America, it has all been and is still depicted with thoughtfulness, emotion, and skill. Artists create fascinating art using remarkable tools to express how society is feeling and what we're thinking. They always inspire us to action. So our tools have changed, our art has changed, but artists and their necessity have remained the same.